Welcome everyone to the Winter Classic, day number 6. We have a double dosage of matches for you tonight, including one men's and one women's match, so this is going to be pretty epic to say the least. So, without further ado, how about we get into our Division 1 matchup in the beginning of our second round. Hopefully, this one's going to be a bit of a banger. As well, we've got some big stars competing here as we head to the City Limits Arena. And let the wubs begin, as it's time for a blissful battle. Firstly, Alexa Bliss entering the fray.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Columbus, Ohio, Alexa Bliss.
Bliss lost out in her opener during this tournament. That was against Liv Morgan. And to be honest, it was a very one-sided affair in favor of the former Ruby Bell champion. And well, tonight, Bliss has to go toe-to-toe with an actual champion in IPW. A woman who currently sits 1-0 in this tournament. The Beautiful Madness picked up a heavy win against the undisputed world champion in the women's division, Fallon frickin' Henley. And tonight, she's looking to go 2-0, solidifying top spot in this division.
And her opponent from Tokyo, Japan, the prestigious Pure Wrestling Champion,
Julia, as we say, 1-0 in this tournament, beating Fallon Henley. And, well, she's looking to keep that record going here against Alexa Bliss. And the way that Julia picks up them victories, utilizing that Arrivederci knee to basically dismantle the competition. Now, a difficult test ahead of her because Alexa Bliss, a very, well, dominant wrestler in her own right, knows how to step up to the competition that dares to step in the ring with her. Bliss looking ready. Julia, the final stretch before the bell rings, and we are underway with our first matchup tonight. A collar and elbow tie-up between the two ladies that Julia takes advantage of. Side headlock applied in this position. Bliss, nice ankle pick. Gets back to her feet, escaping the hold as they tie up for a second time now. Bliss getting the advantage. Waist lock applied. Gonna wrench down on that. Keeping control of Julia in this position. Plenty ways to transition out of it, but Julia gonna take advantage. Snapmare, take down into headlock. Yet again applying pressure to the neck of Bliss. In fact, wrenching back on that neck is Julia. As a whole, both these ladies bring interesting styles to quite short-statured ladies, so they bring a bit more evasiveness in their style. They like to fly in some cases. Bliss, obviously, Twisted Bliss to finish off matches. And, well, they also bring some considerable power. A lot of fury, some may say 5 feet of fury in total. As well, their shots are pretty heavy. Bliss, that big knockout right hand needs to be, well, a thing to avoid, and Julia, obviously, highly explosive suplexes and brainbusters really need to be evaded if you are Alexa Bliss in this situation. Bliss, again, rolling back the years with this gear, going back to the goddess look to take on Julia. And well, it's a look that served a lot of success for Alexa. Obviously a former Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. Reigns that very successful for her as the goddess. And now, having to go up against the Beautiful Madness, this is certainly a different kettle of fish. Obviously, way back when, it would have been competing against the Four Horsewomen, one of which still sits in this tournament in Becky Lynch, the Resolution case holder, and you have to feel she'll have a close eye on a few of these bouts during this tournament. Regards to that, Bliss charging in, hits the basement dropkick, flying heavy into that shot onto Julia. Gets a 2 count off of that, and is looking to maintain the pressure. The champ struggling to get going here against Alexa. However, may not be this case as well. Circumstances can change, but for now, Alexa in control. As Julia may have just made me eat my own words. Roll up here though. Bliss catches her. Trying to just maintain control here as Alexa. It's smart wrestling. Keeping Julia at bay, and there's that big right. Just flattening Julia. Tosses her back into the ring, back into play. As Alexa's still looking to keep going. Still hunting for the win. Climbs up top. I thought for a second we may have been getting some Twisted Bliss. Instead, it's just an elbow drop. The count comes through. It's only a 1. Alexa, though, not slowing down. Keeping the pressure on. Big right. That's the shot that usually does it. Julia realizing the danger, because that's a precursor maneuver in Bliss's arsenal for typically something big. Alexa caught in the corner. Julia also caught. Both ladies trading pretty heavy. Back and forth we go. The action is palpable as well. Finally, Julia. Well, I may have spoke too soon. Julia was in control for a brief second there, but Bliss, Twisted Bliss. Sorry, not Twisted Bliss. Sister Abigail connecting and getting the 2. Insult as well now to injury. Bliss is uncorking the big shots. She's landed 2 of them in a row. And Julia's prone in the drop zone for Twisted Bliss. This time she hits that maneuver and goes for the cover. Julia is down and no, not out. Still in this matchup as Alexa still hunting for the W. But caught Julia around the world. Brings her down with the head scissors. Firing back is the champ. Big boot connects, and well, this could be the turning point she needs. Apply the pressure now to Alexa. Keep her at bay as she stomps her into the mat and busts her open. Julia is cooking, but for how much longer? Bliss fires back. A big shot, pulls her down. Oh, we're going for that maneuver. The face is pulled, and you can see the blood trickling down past the left side of her face, just beside her eye. As Alexa, well, gets a little revenge there, busting open Julia. This is turning into a war for the ages. As both these ladies really giving it their all. Alexa climbs up to the high rent district once more. Drops the elbow for a second time. Misses though with the insult to injury. And Julia gonna capitalize. Hooks her up. Brings her down. Brainbuster. Spikes her into the mat and goes for the cover. Could this be it? Kick out given Alexa staying alive. Bliss does some big shots, but she is still in trouble. Julia at any moment can look for the end. Pump handle. Suplexing her over the top. Julia pointing the shot directly at the face for the big knee. That arrivederci connecting pinfall attempt as Bliss had her last gasp of air in this matchup. The answer to that is no, as she's still fighting, but Julia's headbutting her way still to victory. Still, she keeps on throwing these big shots. Pulls Bliss into a position where she can just come flying through with that knee. Julia mounting more pressure, calling Bliss up. Connecting, phenomenal forearm off the top. Dropping the goddess. While that may have been a setup, Bliss caught. No catching, no, definitely caught. Thought for a second she was going to STO her, but Julia fires a couple of punches to the side of Bliss. Puts her in the corner. The situation at hand closer than I expected. But we are verging on victory as Julia hooks up Bliss up on the shoulders. Around the world we go into the Michinoku driver. Northern Lights driver as an arrivederci connects. Bliss is down and out. Julia looking for the W. And she gets it. 2-0 in this Winter Classic is the Amethyst champion. Not the woman I expected to be dominating Division 1 of this women's league. As for Alexa, sitting to 0-2 with one match left with Fallon Henley towards the tail end of this tournament. That being said, right now, you look at this match, you can say there was a lot of promising things, promising signs out of Alexa. Sister Abigail, Twisted Bliss, insult to injury, but when you miss that second attempt right after this elbow drop, Julia had her means to get in this match, and well, she took it almost immediately. Hooks up Alexa and drives her into the mat with that brainbuster, spiking the skull and causing some damage that almost got the W there for Julia. It would take several more big offensive maneuvers like this first arrivederci, but Bliss kept on trucking, kept on fighting through Julia's offensive till here. Arrivederci connects for the second time, and it busts a big time victory open.
Here is your winner, Julia!
What a beautiful madness. Victorious here. Well, we're not done for tonight. We have another matchup for your weekend in this Winter Classic. Strap on in, because we're going straight into that one right now. Well, we've panned over to the men's side of the bracket here in the Winter Classic. As well, we have a battle of two losers in round one.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from England, weighing in at 211 pounds, Zack Saban Jr.
Sabre round 1 took on the inaugural Winter Classic winner, Bryan Danielson, to a very interesting result. Danielson getting the submission victory over Sabre in a close battle up until the point that, well, Danielson took over, dominated the battle, and Sabre had no real fight back into the matchup. Tonight, Sabre's got a different animal. The other man, 0-1 in this tournament for this Division 1 matchup. Drew McIntyre stepping into the picture. Stage he's not too unfamiliar with here is the City Limit stage. Victorious on his last outing here against the Demon. Now he has to go toe-to-toe with Zack Sabre Jr., another.
And his opponent from Ayr, Scotland, weighing in at 254 pounds, the prestigious Pure Wrestling Champion, the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
British Isles star, and well, tonight McIntyre stepping into the ring, a little bit more confidence being shown by him as he walks straight up into here, knowing that this is a do or die matchup realistically in this division. Similar to what we just saw with Julia and Alexa. Alexa down to 0-2 now. Julia 2-0. She could potentially win this group, and I should also point out, when we reach the end of this round robin tournament, we will obviously have tiebreakers at the end. And essentially what will happen is seeding will be then judged for the actual New Year's Clash based upon how, well, results, and we'll have tiebreakers if there are stars on the same amount of wins. That's just how it goes, and yes, that does mean that divisions will be combined at the end of this round robin. So if hypothetically we have 2 stars on 0 wins at the end of this tournament, then we will guarantee ourselves a tiebreaker matchup between those two, because you can't have anyone on 2 people on 0 in a single division. I should point that out. There's always guaranteed to be someone with points, or 3 people with points, I should say, based upon just logic of a 4-person league. But focusing back on the action, McIntyre taking control at this stage. They tie up for a second time now. Sabre pushing Drew into the ropes. Referee getting involved, trying to cause a break. McIntyre, a cheap shot. But that cheap shot doesn't work too well in his favor. Sabre back on the offensive. He's looking to dissect the Scottish psychopath. Pulling already onto the arms. Maybe looking to set up maybe a Kimura armbar later into the match. Brutalizer could also be a favorable maneuver. Yes, trademark Sabre utilizing his cockiness, his brash wrestling style up against the Scotsman. That being said, Drew up and over. Nice suplex there. Sending Sabre for a nice ride. With Sabre back up, back on the offensive. Big time knee to the body and a boot to the back of the head. That is just dirty as our cameraman. In perfect position there, as always, to showcase the action. Combination of strikes come through, and this is that armbar that we expected. Interestingly, on the other side of McIntyre, keeping maybe both arms at bay, but right now, Sabre bridging back. Romero special locked in. Not gonna get a tap. Maybe turn it into a Romero Dragon Sleeper. That could have been a pretty potent hold. But Sabre releases it, keeping McIntyre guessing what the game plan is for Zack Sabre. However, Sabre into the ropes. Should start to see a count come through as he's tarantulaing McIntyre there. Followed up with a big boot on camera. Barely catching it, but it was certainly potent. Our referee realistically dropping the ball there on that count. McIntyre shaking off the offense, sends Sabre for a little jog. Sabre catching McIntyre. He tries to chase him down, back, around, mat takedown. Just some traditional wrestling, amateur wrestling being shown here by Sabre. Keeping the offensive going here against McIntyre. Goes for a little jog around the ring. Sabre around. Targeting the legs. That's a figure four locked in. It's in pretty deep. Relinquishes the hold. We're at a count of 7. Sabre returning to the ring at a count of 8. Will we see our first count out in this tournament? The answer to that is a resounding yes. Sabre gets 2 points. He breaks Drew's O as well. Technically speaking, this was probably not what Sabre wanted. It's a win regardless, but as the points are split 2-1 in Sabre's favor, it keeps Drew still in a position to climb up the seeding.
Here is your winner, Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, we're done ski for tonight. 2 more matches done in the Winter Classic. Tomorrow, another couple of battles will be coming your way. Strap on in for them. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big